Hi, I'm Tom Marino. At Cone Resnick, we believe that all citizens need to be informed about the issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support the programming produced by Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, working for great public schools for every child. Celgene Corporation, committed to improving the lives of patients worldwide. Wells Fargo Foundation. Barnabas Health, life is better healthy. Health Republic, Insurance of New Jersey. New Jersey Sharing Network, dedicated to saving lives through organ and tissue donation. And by PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Welcome to One-on-One. I'm Steve Adubato. It is my pleasure to introduce for the first time with us. He is Bob Tufts. He is a patient advocate and is connected to an organization called MyLifeIsWorthIt.org, and you are a cancer survivor.
Yes, sir, I am. I was diagnosed in 2009, and here I am now over 5.5 years later, despite the odds, still here, still kicking, and still out here ready to help other patients who had myeloma.
This organization, as we put up the website, MyLifeIsWorthIt.org, a not-for-profit organization dedicated to what?
Helping patients basically get access to care. Patients should be at the center of everything that goes on. Right now we're having battles that go on basically on the outskirts of what happens, but it should be about the doctor and patient choice in the process.
It's not?
It's not. Doctors are being limited in what they can prescribe right now. Doctors are being limited by formularies, by insurance companies, and patients are not being fully informed of the entire process, what they can and cannot do. And when you consider the patients pay the premiums, taxes which pay premiums, co-pays, they're the ones funding the system. And if you're talking about any restriction on care basically due to cost, let's be honest, it's not about any quote-unquote value. The patient has to be at the table. You can't be lecturing them from a podium. You can't be making statements that doctors are somehow doing unnecessary tests. Does that happen? Yes. But the doctors are our allies in the process. They do tests because they're thorough. My doctor, who was very thorough, did the tests on me and found out I had a very aggressive form of myeloma. If he didn't do that test, it was 3 months later, what could have happened? I don't know.
So it's interesting because there's a debate that's been raging. You know, it's how you frame the debate, but often the debate gets framed in this way. We can't be spending money, these limited dollars that the healthcare system has. You can't be spending those dollars if, in fact, someone is in a compromised medical situation with an advanced form of cancer or a very serious cancer. Someone else, you know, they're in a different situation. Is that rationing?
Very much rationing.
People don't like to use that word, though, right?
We don't, because it basically goes into a political realm. I want to take this away from politics, and we do. We want to make it a patient-led grassroots advocacy. Think of
Say it again, a patient-led
grassroots advocacy. Think about the HIV things. It wasn't pure activists in the street. It was advocates, people sharing information, people going around, people talking to each other, sharing information. They cut through red tape and paperwork and got cures out within 4 years. There's no reason it should take 12 years of FDA approval for drugs. And in my case, the drug I take, which has saved my life, still isn't phase 3 tested, even though it's been used by oncologists for over 8 years. Why? It's just adding cost to the system, and everyone knows it works. But why isn't it getting that extra stamp of approval?
There's as I was doing the research for the show, you told our producers, excuse me, by the way, you're a former Major League Baseball player and an investment banker.
Yes.
You've had a fascinating background.
I basically am a generalist, let's be honest.
But there's also someone who you've talked about, our producers, with, Lynn Jacoby.
Yes.
Describe Lynn.
Lynn is a wonderful woman. I got to meet her last year in Chicago. She was a person who loved life and fought as long as she could with breast cancer. And she made a mark, very dear mark, to Bob Goldberg, who I work with in MyLifeIsWorthIt.org and with CMPI. And in her memory, and people who want to fight that long, we want to do what we can for them. Doctors should have as many weapons at their disposal to fight the cancer as hard as patients want to. Lynn fought and Lynn lived. She didn't basically go out with any sort of negative emotion. She fought and treasured life as long as she can. She was there to meet new people like Bob and I, to be there for weddings, grandchildren's birth, all the things that really make life of value. We can keep you alive, but for what? This is what we do, and that's what we're supposed to be alive to do.
What was the lesson of her life?
Don't give up. Fight. Live your life to your fullest.
But you're also saying we cannot let the current system as it is constituted literally decide without us pushing back and advocating and fighting for our own lives.
Absolutely, because what's happening now, they're offering apps and algorithms to say what the average patient would be, and we determine off that if it costs too much. But no patient is average. I'm sure you've been involved in medical procedures, and you are not an average patient at any one point. There's no average treatment, no average cure, no average recovery period. If we do it by purely averages, we're going to deem some people too expensive, too costly, too old, too sick, too whatever. I don't want to even go down that slippery slope of activity, because that's not what's good for society and value. Life in and of itself does have its value.
So when people go on this website, as it's evolving as we speak and growing, what is it that you want people to ultimately find and do on that site?
We want them to look at the site. We want them to sign the petition that we have regarding patient and doctor choice and access to care. There are things that happen like oral parity rulings.
Oral parity rulings.
Where an intravenous chemotherapy versus a pill-based regimen, the pill-based regimen is treated differently and costs more. It's easier to take. I take my medicine at home. I don't have to go to the doctors 2 or 3 times a week for transfusions and have a needle jabbed in my arm. It's like taking a multivitamin. Why is that treated differently when they basically work the same way?
Is it treated differently?
Yes, very much so. And those laws are coming off the books in some states right now. There's also a fail first program where states' insurance were making you fail on your first chemotherapy, the quote unquote older one, before you could get the novel therapy. And in the process of myself, when I was diagnosed in May 2009, if I didn't have the right to do that, I probably would have died. You'd be talking to an empty chair today.
If you hadn't advocated for yourself and believed that your life was worth living, you're not convinced you'd be here today.
No, because in 2009, if we had the British system, which went on quality adjusted life years and cost per year, I would have been deemed too expensive. And my life would basically have not had quote unquote value. It would have been a cost. And I'm not a cost to society. I've been paying my insurance premiums. I'm paying my taxes. I teach at 3 universities. I'm living, surviving, and thriving in the process and contributing back. There have been 52 million life years added. I'm 5.5 through the process in the last 25 years. That adds $4.7 trillion to the economy. That's a huge number. I don't like to start arguing the economics of the situation, but you're really forced to.
Bob Tufts is a former baseball player, investment banker, but now a patient advocate connected with mylifeisworthit.org. I want to thank you for joining us and our friends at Celgene for bringing you to us. Thank you so
Steve.
much. Good stuff. One-on-one will continue right after this.
To see more one-on-one programs, visit us online at oneonone.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. In this next segment, my colleague Joanna Gaga shows us a new reconstructive procedure that is changing lives for women who have survived breast cancer.
It's arguably one of the most devastating things a woman can hear. You have breast cancer. What's next? Is it lumpectomy? Mastectomy? And what about reconstruction? There are several options now, so which one is right for you? In this next segment, I'm going to take you inside a new procedure called DIEP Flap that's changing lives and giving hope to breast cancer survivors who were once hopeless.
When were you first diagnosed with breast cancer?
I was first diagnosed January 14th of 2013.
What did you go through emotionally when you heard that news?
A lot of shock. You can't believe it's you. Then it goes through all those stages, like stages of grief, disbelief. Eventually, you're angry. You get really angry, feel sorry for yourself, the whole why me. And then all of a sudden, this empowerment comes over you, and you just want to fight. It's just this whole roller coaster of emotion.
What treatment options were laid out for you, and how did you decide?
Basically, my two choices were to have a lumpectomy and radiation to this site. They weren't sure about any chemotherapy until they actually tested lymph nodes. So I could have the lumpectomy and radiation, or I could go the route of a mastectomy, or actually even a double mastectomy.
If you look on this image here, you can see that there's some calcifications. And
You had the gene test, the BRCA1 and the BRCA2, but
Yes.
But those came up negative.
Yes.
What made you decide to go forward anyway with a double mastectomy?
It was a very hard decision. Back and forth, many conversations with my husband, family, friends. It was a very difficult decision, but once I finally made that decision, because I kind of just knew that's what I needed to do. The oncologist at an appointment said to me, "Are you the kind of person who's going to lay in bed every night and look for a lump?" And I am. I was going to fixate on it. I know that about me. And once I made that decision, it all felt right. This calm, and it was like a weight off my back.
After a woman has made the very difficult decision to undergo mastectomy, then comes the question of reconstruction. And there are three options: an implant or one of two procedures called tram flap and DIEP flap. Dr. Patel, what is the DIEP flap procedure?
the DIEP Flap procedure is a procedure that we use for breast reconstruction. It employs a technique called microsurgery, and what that essentially is a technique that allows us to transplant tissue from one part of the patient's body to another.
This is with breast reconstruction specifically. You're taking tissue from one part of the body and putting it in the area where the breast would be.
That's correct. And the most common place that we take that from is from the abdomen, and that's the DIEP Flap. But we've also developed techniques where we can take tissue from the inner thigh as well as from the gluteal region.
What does DIEP stand for?
DIEP stands for Deep Inferior Epigastric Perforator Flap, and that's the tissue that we use, again, from the abdomen to reconstruct the breast. It's a composite tissue which includes skin and fat. The advantage of that flap is that we avoid taking the patient's muscle.
Well, when we talk about DIEP flap, there are other procedures that women have previously only had the option of. Tram flap is one of them. What is tram flap, and make the distinction between tram flap and DIEP flap?
So the tram flap and the DIEP flap both use the patient's skin and fat from the abdomen to reconstruct the breast. The difference is that with the tram flap, we also had to sacrifice the patient's abdominal muscles, namely the rectus abdominis muscle. That's the muscle that gives bodybuilders that six-pack look. With the DIEP flap, we are able to avoid sacrificing that muscle and therefore preserving the patient's core strength and stability.
Why was that muscle important in the tram flap, and how were you able to get away from that in the DIEP flap?
Right, that's a great question. So with the tram flap, because we wanted to take as much blood supply as we possibly could, we ended up having to utilize the muscle as well as the skin and the fat. With microsurgery, now we can isolate that blood supply to the skin and the fat and basically just take the skin, the fat, and the blood supply while preserving the muscles where they belong in the abdominal wall.
So when we talk about microsurgery, how are you attaching that tissue? How are you taking it from one part of the body and reattaching it to another part?
So we use a microscope, we use suture that's actually thinner than the human hair, and what we do is we find blood vessels at the recipient's site. So for breast reconstruction, we use blood vessels that run underneath the chest wall, and then we anastomose or hook up the blood vessels that supply the skin and the fat of the abdomen to the blood vessels in the chest wall, and thereby reestablishing the blood supply to that tissue.
So it's live tissue.
That's correct.
When did you first learn that you had breast cancer?
I was at work, and being a school teacher, it's like Pavlov's dog, the bell rings, and you move and you go. And they had called me saying they had the results, not really thinking about it. I just picked up the phone and called, and the physician was very kind and just told me that I had breast cancer. I said, "Thank you very much," and I hung up, and then I walked in and taught my next class. I have 30 students staring at me. So I went to work, and then when work was over, I got to go home and fall apart.
Now, when the cancer was diagnosed, did you have it in both breasts?
No, I had the cancer throughout my right breast, The left breast also had calcifications in it, and that's what they called in my right breast, but not to the degree that it was anything I was ever to be concerned about. But the left breast was just a decision I made to do both at the same time. The procedure I wanted to have, they can only go to the stomach once. So to go to the stomach, to use my own body tissue to fill my right breast, if down the road anything ever happened to my left, I couldn't do that same procedure. So it also was the manner of everything that we went through, all the doctors, all the biopsies, all MRIs, exams, everything. I said, I can't worry about this, that this is going to happen again, and I'm going to have to go through this again. So it was easy to just take care of everything at once and not have that weighing over my head anymore. I don't have to have mammograms anymore. Instead, I'd have to have it on one breast, and I'd be constantly worried every time that there's something wrong. And this way, I now have that relief that I'm okay.
What do you hear as feedback from patients who say, going into it, that they want to feel like they're able to be restored to themselves and feel as natural as possible? What's the feedback that you hear after they undergo the DIEP Flap procedure?
Right. It's essentially that. Patients really are able to relate to that tissue as their own, as opposed to having an implant. An implant works well in some patients, but it's still a foreign material. It's a foreign body that's reconstructing the breast. With the DIEP Flap, the tissue is their own natural tissue, and it's oftentimes essentially as if they hadn't lost their breast to begin with. It really replicates the breast tissue very nicely.
I have an autoimmune disease, and the idea of putting something foreign in my body, like an implant, was concerning to me. I have a lot of allergies, so I was concerned about putting something that wasn't my own in my body. So the thought of using my own fat and tissue appealed to me, and Dr. Patel thought it would provide a natural result for me and that I was a good candidate for it. So that was definitely a positive.
You said that it was really important to you that you feel as close to natural and as close to the way you started as possible. How do you feel now?
I feel great. I feel wonderful. That my breasts are very natural. So much so that some people who, when you get an implant, a physician can make it perfect. They can't make these perfect, but my breasts weren't perfect when I went in. They actually are very much like my original breasts. They feel the same. I don't feel like I have a water sac inside me. I just feel very, very natural.
For people who choose or select the DIEP Flap procedure, they're in essence getting a tummy tuck at the same time. Is that a silver lining?
Well, that's a great point, and you'd be surprised how many patients actually use that exact expression when I see them in consultation. They'll often say to me, it's horrible that I have to go through this, but getting a tummy tuck is really the silver lining in all of this. And not only is it, a tummy tuck, but what we're able to do for the patient is to really restore their quality of life. That's really the goal of breast reconstruction. And certainly the additional tummy tuck is not objectionable to most patients.
My concern was getting rid of the cancer. So after everything's done and said and everything's reconstructed, I said to Dr. Patel that it's amazing to me what he could do for me, because he just gave me back my normal. I look like I looked before, but better. It's amazing what he could do.
To see more one-on-one programs, visit us online at oneonone.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
John Scala is Planetarium Director and Science Teacher at Lenape Valley Regional High School. He's been there for 27 great years. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking, and thank you for having me.
You love it there?
Absolutely. I don't go to work. Never have, not in 27 years.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
This is part of our Classroom Close-Up partnership with the NJEA. About to see a video of John and his folks doing some great work. You got this planetarium there, 53-seat planetarium.
Correct.
Since 1987, it's been going around. I I said that you had 63,000 visitors. You said, no, it's 64,000.
As of the close of the current school year, yeah.
Why don't we do this? Let's take a look at the video that tells the story. Then we'll come back and you'll talk more. This is from the classroom, the great classroom close-up series celebrating, Jackie, right, 20 years they just celebrated? They're in their 21st year. Emmy Award-winning, terrific series. And we'll come back and talk to John right after this. Classroom close-up.
When you're outside with your mom and dad, when you're outside by yourself, when you're outside and it's the nighttime, there's a lot of cool things you can see. You don't need a rocket ship. You don't need to be an astronaut. You don't need to be a grown-up. You could do it all by yourself tonight. And that's what Penny's going to show us now, what the nighttime sky will look like.
Penny is the nickname that Planetarium Director John Scala uses to refer to this projector that helps him explain the universe to thousands of students each year.
A planetarium is a special kind of auditorium and movie theater, but instead of projecting a movie, we project the night sky. The ceiling of a planetarium is dome-shaped, like a cereal bowl turned upside down over your head. What we do is project the stars, the planets, and other space-related items. And with other projectors, we can put spaceships or rockets or comets or other space-related phenomena on the ceiling.
You would probably expect to find a planetarium in a large city, like the Hayden Planetarium in New York or the Adler Planetarium in Chicago, but this one happens to be located inside Lenape Valley Regional High School.
I'd never been in the planetarium before this year, but when I learned that we had the class in the planetarium, it really excited me because just to have that in the school, it sets us apart from other schools.
My day's made brighter when I have the kindergartners or the first graders or the elementary school kids. When the sunshine flies across outer space and smacks into Noseland. Daytime or nighttime?
Daytime.
Right. But what about over here in Ponytail Land? The banter, the back and forth, the question and answer, the misconceptions, the oohs and the ahs. It just makes my whole day. The Earth does this too. Between teaching, using the planetarium, and using my passion day in and day out, I can pretty honestly say I've never had to go to work a day in my life. It's always been fun.
During his 27 years as planetarium director, Scala has inspired many students to pursue studies in astronomy and other sciences.
What interests me the most about astronomy is just the fact that it never ends. There's like always something else you can learn, and you can never know everything about it, and that fascinates me.
A textbook can be a wonderful thing. A fantastic teacher can be a wonderful thing. But a chalk or a marker or a costume only takes you so far. When I can put the universe literally within reach of their fingers, just by lifting their head and they can see what we're talking about and discussing, it just reaches out and grabs that imagination that sometimes older kids don't want to admit that they have, but it's been lying there just waiting to be found, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that.
You looking out into space when you see that? What are you feeling?
I'm feeling so good right now.
Why?
Students I've had who just graduated that I'm going to miss. Another generation of learners who are coming through. My legacy is going to be when those kids look up at the night sky in the future and say, I remember Orion, or I remember the Big Dipper, or I don't remember that fella's name, but he showed me that that's planet Mars or that's planet Jupiter, and that'll get passed on. It's not very practical, but it's here, and that's what's important to me.
Is it personal to you?
Yes, very much so.
Someone says it's a job, it's a profession, you say?
Helping kids to learn, obviously, is part of going to school, obviously. Teaching them how to learn is even more important. They may not necessarily remember the lesson, but they'll remember how to learn the material. Because somewhere along the line, they're going to have to learn how to do this, how to do that, whatever it is, wherever they go. Now, if they can remember some of the astronomy along the way, I'd be more than thrilled. I think any teacher would.
When did you know it would be science and teaching for you? Teaching science?
Not too many people believe this, but it was at age 10. I got my first telescope. It sounds very cliche, but my folks brought a telescope from a cousin who had no longer had any use for it, brought it home. And Mom and I would always sit out in the summer for the Perseid meteor shower. If there was something going on, Dad or someone would wake me up early, would look out the window. And I went to college knowing from my first step onto the campus that astronomy is what it was going to be.
How do you not get bored?
I'm asked that quite often, and I kind of compare it to a Broadway actor. You know, that person hits that Broadway stage and they're saying the same line over and over again for 500 performances. But every time a student walks into the planetarium, that's that child's first experience. They don't care that it's my 1000th.
That's what Nathan Lane says, you know.
I didn't.
When he was doing the Matthew Broderick, what is it, guys? Help me. Oh, my Broadway. When he was doing the producers, they said, how do you not get bored? He said, what are you kidding me? It's the first time that husband and wife came in from Nebraska.
Absolutely.
It's not their first time. I mean, it's their first time, right? So for me, I've got to give them everything I've got. Same thing?
That's exactly it. Exactly.
Same thing?
Same thing.
You give them, what about if you're tired, you've done the same lesson plan for how many years, you got to give them everything.
There's a sense of showmanship that goes on. It's not the social studies teacher, it's not the math teacher, it's not the foreign language teacher. There's a show being presented. Each lesson is a performance more than it is a lesson.
Someone says science boring, you say?
Oh, no way. No way. If I can't get a kid interested in something during my class, whether it's through the inflection of a voice, doing a Yoda impersonation, showing them something that's going on, getting a laugh or a giggle, thank you very much. I mean, that kid's just not reachable.
Were you born to do this?
I believe so. I've been told by several superintendents that I missed my calling because I'm pretty good with the little ones. But no, my calling is I can reach the little ones as much as I can reach the senior citizens.
You reach a lot of people, and you reach a lot of people with us, John, and I cannot thank you enough. And you're a great educator and a great person. Thank you very much.
You're my pleasure. Thank you very much.
That was great.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, Celgene Corporation, Wells Fargo Foundation, Barnabas Health, Health Republic, Insurance of New Jersey, New Jersey Sharing Network, and by PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and NorthJersey.com, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and its monthly magazine, New Jersey Business. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
Hi, I'm Peter Rooney. In 2006, I lost my father to renal disease. He was on the waiting list for a new kidney, but did not receive one in time. Unfortunately, so many like my father have lost their lives while waiting for a life-saving organ. At New Jersey Sharing Network, we're committed to saving and enhancing people's lives through organ and tissue donation and by informing people about this important decision. Because you can make a difference and save a life.